Welcome to the Picture This podcast. I'm your host Cam, and in this show we'll be talking about the creative world of photography and videography and the secrets to running a wildly successful photography business. Let's get it. So today we'll be talking about wedding photography and what I love about it, plus what is in my bag for wedding photography 2023. I've loved photography for the longest. It's actually what got me into shooting weddings and all sorts of events. It was actually amazing when I tapped into the African community and I was doing lots of work with them, and I connected myself with several different people during my years of working in that community. I enjoy doing photography. I still to this day enjoy doing photography, but I realized over the years that I've been doing a lot more videography than photography. I still do photography, but I do a lot more videography than photography, which I would never change because I love doing videography work. It allows me just to show people a different side of the world. Because you'll see a photo and be like, yeah, cool, a photo. But then to see the photo moving is what I'm talking about. You're seeing the same thing that a photographer would take, but just moving. You're seeing all sides of it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I love that. If I could literally go back in time and only do photography or videography, I think that's a tough call to make because I love them both so much. But I don't even know. I think I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. I'd leave it exactly as it is because it's given me a great perspective on how things are done on both sides. Doing photography all those years and then doing video. I know I sucked. When I first started doing video, holy crap. My video work was just trash, but that's how it is. When you start something brand new, you're not going to be the best of the best of the best. You're just going to start out trash or maybe mediocre, or you get some, perspective. Someone's going to help you out to get to that next level quickly, but my work was garbage. Now, I think my work is fantastic. It's amazing. I love the work that I'm able to create. I remember there was limitations that I had. I didn't have some software and I had to work harder on telling the story and, creating a video that people are going to find enticing without having all the fancy transitions and all that stuff. And I really admire that about myself, where I would put myself in a position where I got one arm tied behind my back, literally, and I've got to shoot and edit a video just to make sure it delivers and it meets a certain standard. And I felt that over the years, I've been able to achieve that. And I'm actually proud of myself greatly for that. So that was, that's how it's been all these years. And now we've moved from we've transitioned from 2022 to 2023, and I've realized that the gear that I've purchased to help carry me through these years, it's all made sense. I purchased the right gear at the right time. There's been years where I should have got gear before I needed the gear, and I didn't bite the bullet and go get it. And I think a while back, a fellow photographer, told me, I bought this thing. And I was like, you know what? I need to invest more into my craft. I was investing time and energy, but I wasn't investing in buying certain things. And so I went out and I invested and I bought, I bought a lot of things that helped the business 100%. I was recording weddings and I didn't have any audio that was connected to the bride or the groom. And so I was like, okay, I've got to get my audio from the bride and the groom. How am I going to do this? And I went out and I invested. I spent about $200 and I got this sound kit here. It's the cheesiest sound kit ever in life, but it worked. It got me what I needed. It got me the audio that I needed. But the only problem is it was humming, buzzing, clipping. It's just horrible. But it got me what I needed, but it just wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest whatsoever. Um, like when I look at this set, like it worked. It gave me what I needed. This is what I invested. This is what I got when I invested. I invested and I got that. And I remember the thing about this system is like when it's powered on, you can't really tell that it's on. Like there's a light. This has it's a light right here. It's like a really small light. And I think this one has a light too, but when the light hits this light at the right angle, it looks like it's lit up when it's not. These have been dead for the longest, and as far as the battery inside, and they still look like they're lit up right now. So this was really a poor design. And one wedding I was doing, it literally didn't provide me with any audio. And I was able to maneuver around and change some stuff and make it work. Like I got the audio back, but this just wasn't providing me the audio that I needed. And so I realized I need to invest. And so one of the first things that I did was I went out and I bought a whole new system. So you guys probably know this system by Rode. It's the wireless Go system. This is this is the system that I love using, or I loved using at the time. It got me the audio that I needed. Literally just plug and play. Plug into the camera, plug into the soundboard, get a couple extra cables so you can tap in and grab the audio. The best thing that you could ever invest in by far as audio is concerned, because it gives you that audio that you need. I never had an issue with the audio. Like it was perfect. Got me the audio, didn't have any like weird noises being made. So good. Only thing that did suck about it is depending on how far you went, or if you went around corners, it would kind of chip out on you. But outside from that, it was fine. It worked. It delivered. And that's one thing I really, really, really loved about this system. It just, you couldn't want a better system. I mean, maybe honestly, they came out with better systems after, or maybe not better. I wouldn't say they're better. There's, I think DJI came out with a system that I believe it's DJI. Yeah, I think DJI came out with a system similar to this. I don't have that system. I've never used it before, but it looks pretty cool. I watched a bunch of reviews on that system and this system, and I realized that like I did like this system more. Once again, this system came out before the DJI system. The DJI microphone lav system came out a bit after. So but long story short is like this lav system has been like a lifesaver for me with the work that I've been doing. And I thought about it. I did a project the other day, and I needed some audio, and I realized if I was going to be doing other projects similar to this, I'm going to need to be able to grab audio from multiple people. And so I said, okay, you know what? I might just go and buy another set, just buy another set of these, call it a day. So I'll have like this set plus another set, and I'm good to go. Because this was a receiver and transmitter, right? So actually this is the microphone and this is the receiver. So transmitter, receiver. And so I was like, well, if I buy another set, then I can attach it. I can, mic multiple people. I'm good to go. And then I realized that they actually came out with another kit that provides you with 2 microphones and 1 receiver. So I thought about it. I'm like, does it make sense? Like, how the Boxing Day comes around, they say, oh, we've got some Boxing Day sales. Those sales are never really sales. I've come to the conclusion like years ago, but those sales are never really sales, especially with like photography equipment. There's never really an actual sale. They just say it's a sale. I remember I worked in retail for the longest, and that's another story actually. I'll probably get into another time, but I worked in retail for the longest, and they'd be like, yeah, we're going to mark things down. And we all have seen the prices at Walmart where it says it's marked down, but they actually mark it up. it's marked up to then mark it down. And it's like, what do you mean you're making it from this markdown price of X to, full price, then to deduct to bring it down to a lower price, which is still higher than the price that you previously had it. Long story short is I wasn't trying to buy into the hype of these sales, but I knew what I needed, and so I went out and purchased it. I wanted to make sure I came into 2023 super strong, knowing that, hey, I've got all the gear that I need to shoot weddings. I'll go over the gear that I actually use when I'm shooting weddings just now, but the key piece that I knew that I needed and I wanted to have in place was audio. I wanted to make sure that I could properly record a bride, a groom, whoever as they're speaking. And so with that being said, I stepped out and I got this system. I got the one with the 3 transmitters. It's well worth it. Trust me, guys. It is well worth it to get this system. One thing I do like about this system is the fact that once you connect it to your computer, because they don't tell you this, but once you connect it to your computer, you can set it up where once these turn on, it starts recording right away. So it records internally to the actual unit, whereas the older ones here, they don't do that. The older ones do not do that whatsoever. They do not record internally. It's you plug in, you hit record, and then it starts recording to your device. With the new system, you plug them in. You don't even have to plug them in. You just hit the record button, you turn it on, and it starts recording automatically. So when you just turn on the unit, it automatically starts recording. And then what happens is when you start recording on your camera, it'll pick up the recording from then. So example, if I start talking now and my camera's not recording, it's going to grab that audio. Then when I hit record, it's going to now record a video for the audio that has now been recorded, right? So what's good about that is you get overlapping audio. You can get audio before you want to start recording, right? It's an amazing unit. I'm glad I got this system, and I cannot wait to use it at my next wedding project. I think it's going to be amazing. I really do. I'm actually super excited to use it. I tested it out to see what it can actually do. And what's good about it is it actually records, I think it's like, I can't remember the exact number, but it records a lot of footage depending on how you have it set up. It's like something like 24 hours or 48 hours of like audio you can record on this unit. So that's like multiple times charging it up, multiple times using it for several days, several bookings. Just have all this audio stored on here, plus stored on your computer, plus stored on your camera. So you just can't go wrong. Like I'm happy. I'll never lose audio ever. This is like the backup of the backup, because once you have it plugged into, if you don't have it plugged into your camera, it's still recording clean, and then your camera can record still. There's just, I'm excited. And then, yeah, it's a lot. it's a lot. I'm super excited about this. But one thing I also want to talk about was what's in my bag for this year for shooting weddings. I think one of the key things for me is, getting stable footage. I've my bag hasn't changed too drastic, but it has improved a whole lot. And so I want to provide like a beginner session for those videographers who are looking to get into shooting weddings. You should definitely make sure you have multiple batteries, multiple cameras, and stabilizers, because that's what's needed. So let's get into what I'm using right now. So sorry about that. But what I'm using right now is I'm using my Nikon A7 III, which is behind me right here. It's a phenomenal camera. I think it's, for me, what I'm looking for and how it functions, like, I'm one with the camera at this point in time, and I love what it delivers. It gives me exactly what I'm looking for all time. The batteries, the new batteries that come with it as well, are fantastic. I literally have like all day battery with these, but I guess like I used to have all day battery. Let me just say that I used to have all day battery with them, but the batteries still last me a very long time. I tend to go through these batteries for each segment of the day. So, example, like getting ready up until going to the actual ceremony, I'll probably go through a battery. And then, but that's what's weird because when I first got the camera and the battery, it would last me the entire day. I could go majority of the day, not in the entirety, that's a lie. I would go from like, from prep, so getting ready to like speeches. And then I still have like the them dancing and you know the games and whatever else. So that was fantastic. So I may want to pick up another battery just in case. But right now I've got 4 of those batteries, which is great. So I don't think I need more than 4 batteries. I do have 2 cameras, so I do have the camera I'm using right now is what I would use to record the speeches and anything else that's just static. Then my A7 III is what I have going around to capture all the content. So the stabilizer is the Ronin SC. It is a really, like, to me, when I first got it, I first, okay, before I even get into that, I had a friend who purchased it first, and I had the Ronin S. And I was like, okay, cool. I got the Ronin S, the bigger, heavier, bulky. It does the job though. Like I cannot lie. It delivered every single time. I was happy with everything this camera was giving me. The stabilizer was giving me. It was delivering. I dialed everything in. It took me a while to dial everything in because I was so used to using the Ronin M, which that system was like the rig where you got to hold it like this, and it just gave me everything I was looking for. But with this system, it was a bit different. It was hard to get used to using your wrist and turning. It was weird. But after getting used to it, I practically love it. And so I realized that, listen, I'm doing weddings all the time. My wrist is hurting me. I'm going to get older. I'm getting older. What am I going to? I'm getting older. And so I wanted to make sure that whatever direction I went with a stabilizer, it was going to be something I could sustain. Like, I don't want to be holding on to something that's super heavy for my entire life. What am I, Thor? Right? I want something that's going to make sense and deliver what I need. And this smaller gimbal just does the job. The Ronin SC does the job. Literally. It's not a promo for Ronin, but it does the job. It gives me exactly what I'm looking for with like something that's a stabilizer that's handheld and lightweight. You can't go wrong. So I literally used that. And then what I did was I remember using it for his wedding, and I actually did a post on Instagram literally when this happened, because I was like, what the hell, guys, look at this. The battery dies on me right when I'm doing. So the battery pretty much lasts as long as the entire wedding up until the speeches. Funny thing, huh? So I went and bought another battery grip so that I could use it, because you're not able to use your older battery grip on the newer camera, or you're not able to use the older battery grip on the newer stabilizer. And funny thing about that is there's a little, you technically could, if you had balls, I mean, you could do this if you want, but you can go and like grind off there's a little notch that they put in there, but there's a little notch in there, and that little notch prevents you from using the system on using this battery grip on another system. And then, I also, because of the design of the older one, it did the same thing where you weren't able to plug the battery grip into this one. But if you shave down the part on that one, you can plug it into this one. So you could literally, without buying another battery, you can use the battery here, which is a bigger battery. That means it will last you twice as long. Why get stuck with this battery when I already bought the system? Why am I going to go and buy another battery? I could just use the same battery for my old system. But I digress. I went out, I spent the money, I bought the battery. But that's a life hack though, right? If you're a photographer, you've already bought one system, you bought another system, you don't want to buy any more batteries. You can take the battery from your bigger stabilizer and plug it into the smaller one. Use it. Go try it. Let me know if it works for you, but I believe 100%. I looked at it, I'm like, you can do it. I just didn't have the tools to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not hurting for the cash. Let me just go out and buy the other battery just so I have. So long story short, I was shooting a wedding. The battery dies while speeches are happening. And after the speeches, they were going to do a dance. So they did like speeches. I don't know why they do this. They do the speech and then do a dance and speech and dance. I think it's the worst setup ever. They should just do speeches and then call it a day, make it easy. So anyways, you know what? Before I go any further, let's listen to tonight's sponsor for this podcast. Today's sponsor is Six Figure Photo Biz. So I've created an online course that gives you a decade of all of my skills so you can learn how to run your business and take your photography to the next level. For more information, click the link below or the link in the bio. Let's get it. Okay, so that was the word from our sponsor. So back to what I was saying now. I'm not sure why they do this, where they go the back and forth with the speeches. We always when we speak to our bride and grooms, try to like give them the best way of the night flowing, right? Instead of them having to make it where they're talking and doing this back and forth, we try to give them like the best solution. It would be best if you guys went out and did this, which would be like having the speeches all at once, just boom, 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 having the speeches when everyone's eating dinner. And then you can save the dancing for shortly after, because it makes it a lot easier for us to now sit down, record all the shots, get it looking consistent, instead of having to stop recording, move the cameras around. I like having consistent shots for my speeches. Why do I need to have a bunch of different angles for the speeches when I can have that one solid angle of people just talking? It's unfortunate, but that's what happens when you're at a wedding sometimes. You can't control everything, but there's things that you can control. So when it's time, you control them. So let's talk about what's in my bag. I have my wireless Go system. That's what I'll be using to capture my audio. I've got my Sony a7 III. I got my batteries. I've got 4 batteries, as I mentioned. I also have the gimbal with the extra battery for the gimbal. That's what I forgot to mention about my story. So back to the story about the gimbal. When the battery died, I recorded a post on Instagram saying, hey guys, battery just died. I'm going to show you something crazy. I literally went handheld and recorded speeches plus a dance, and not showing the people how rock solid my footage was. I mean, I'm just saying, gotta be able to deliver. I used to shoot weddings without a stabilizer. I wouldn't recommend it. As a matter of fact, I actually had to edit an entire wedding that someone shot without a stabilizer. It was the worst visual experience of a team shooting without a stabilizer I've seen in my life. It doesn't make any sense. It felt like they were amateurs, and they seemed to be professionals. There's multiple people doing this, and it made no sense. What didn't someone say, hey guys, maybe we should use a stabilizer? And on top of it, they had a tripod that day. So that means they didn't have to shoot without a stabilizer. Someone could have been on a tripod and got some shots from a specific angle, and everything would have been fine. They could have done this, but they didn't. They chose to do something else. That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, I digress. So what else is in my bag? We're gonna have the obviously the bag itself. Lighting. This year I'm gonna test out. I have these lighting panels. I'm actually using one of them right now. I think I'm gonna test them out this year, or maybe not. It all depends, because realistically speaking, weddings have actually changed since before the pandemic till during the pandemic, and now I say after the pandemic. Some people still think we're in it. Weddings have actually changed. I don't see us carrying a bag of gear to a location anymore. It's reduced. To me, at least, my kit has reduced. I used to have a video light I would take with me. I still have a tripod I take with me, but I think I might even remove the tripod and just take a lighting stand, because it takes up less space, and I'm not trying to tilt it to get a very specific angle. I'm just trying to keep it forward to record speeches. That's it. So even that, the footprint of that is a lot smaller than a tripod, and I think that might be something I might use going forward. It makes sense. You screw the camera on, hit record, you're good. Versus getting a tripod, you got to get the mount, screw the mount on, slide it on. I don't know. It's up to you. To each their own. I just think that moving forward, to lessen your kit. I've always been a very minimalistic person when it comes to my kits anyways. I'm just removing like the bulk of the kit by, not the bulk of, but the bulkiest things of the kit would be like the tripod, because I have to carry that in a separate bag. So you're now thinking, well, wouldn't you still carry your your lighting stand in a separate bag? No, I probably would hold it in my hand. It's just a lighting stand. I have everything in my backpack. Got my laptop. That's another thing too. I take my laptops with me when I do a wedding. Most people probably don't take their laptop. You don't have to take your laptop, but that's something that I do. It's a personal preference for myself, because when I'm on location, I like to know I have the ability to back up files. Why am I going to wait till later on when I can just do it on location? I'm there then, boop, boop, boop. When I get home, I can just sleep. I don't have to spend 8 hours watching the files back up to make sure they're fine. I can just do it while I'm at the booking. Everything's copied. It's fresh in my mind, and I know here's what's happening. I shot this. I'm backing this up. Yeah, that's how I'm going to be shooting weddings this year. So, my gear is the only one thing I'm taking away from my gear probably would be that the tripod, but we'll see. I'm not going to be 100% on that as yet. I've got to go through shooting an actual wedding and seeing how that works out to know that, okay, am I going to keep the tripod or am I not going to keep the tripod? That's just something that I'll have to see and go from there. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get off my chest today. And it wasn't anything, crazy, but I wanted you guys to know that, like, if you're going to be spending money in the world, spend the money and invest in yourself. You're not ever going to lose. I can almost guarantee if you invest in yourself and put some money aside, you're going to win tenfold. But you just got to put the money in, right? I wasn't late on putting money back into the business. You're never going to be late on that. You're going to do it when it's the right time, right? When you feel that, oh, you know what? I need to get that next best thing. Also, like, think about it. Does it make sense to get that next best thing? Is it going to really improve your business? If it is, get it. If it's not, then don't get it. Or if you can rent it just to see how it functions. And then that's another way as well. I've never done that. I think I've only done it with one thing, and that's a whole different story. Yeah, I rented it wasn't me. My client rented a lens. I mean, I'm not down for renting. I'd rather own it. If I have a friend who, I guess this is kind of the equivalent. If I have a friend who has it and I can like test it out real quick, just go out and get it, right? And I think that's what happened. I had a friend that had an 85 mil. No, it wasn't 85 mil. It was we rented I think it was the time we rented the lenses for like a music video shoot, and it was a 1.6 lens, or 1.4 lens. It was a 50 1.4, and I was like, yeah, and I took it with me and I was getting some amazing shots. I didn't rent it. No, I bought it. That's a lie. So I bought the 1.4 lens. So I bought a 1.4 50 lens and for my Nikon system, and I took it to like Jamaica, and I took some beautiful images. But I realized that 1.4 is so shallow. Holy crap. Like, you get some really good images, but then you can also get some bad images when you just like, depending who's shooting, because I had other people using it to take a picture of me, and it was just not coming out great. Invest in yourself. If you don't invest in anything else in life, make sure you invest in yourself, because you are probably not going to let yourself down. I didn't, and I don't believe you will. So anyways, guys, I do appreciate you listening to this episode. This is a long one, but there was a lot that I had to talk about, and keep it candid, but still get the point across that you need to invest in yourself and plan out what you're going to be, doing for this year as far as shooting and how you're going to be shooting it. Think about how you can reduce your equipment. You may not need all of it, right? I know some photographers, they show up and they have like everything, and then at the end of the day, they only use a few things. One thing I would say, and I do this all the time, or I've done this before, is look at my equipment and see what have I used when I did a booking and what didn't I use. And then watch that pattern over time, and you'll realize, oh, there's a lot of stuff that you take with you that you don't really need. So reduce your kit. My goal for you is to reduce your kit this year to something that's sustainable. And now I'm going to say goodbye. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys for tapping in with this one. You know what to do. Subscribe, hit that follow button, like, comment. Guys, thank you for joining the podcast, and I can't wait to share some more goodies about photography and videography with you. Let's get it.